Just $50 a month. No price hikes, no hidden fees.
I did it.
Ah!
I switched to T-Mobile Home Internet, and I am loving it.
Don't sneak up on me like that.
Why didn't you tell me to switch earlier?
Now at 6, Missouri voters will decide if marijuana will be legal for recreational use. Plus, the Cherokee County Clerk announces a mistake in one of the county's elections earlier this month. And we'll hear from Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis on future election procedures.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Recreational marijuana will be on the ballot this November in Missouri. This is your KOAM News at 6. I'm Jalen Banks. If passed, it would allow those 21 and older to use marijuana recreationally. The state and localities could also levy taxes in the sale of it. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to people on both sides of the issue and has more.
Only medical use of cannabis is legal in the state of Missouri. However, that could change by November. Voters will decide whether to make Missouri the 20th state to legalize recreational marijuana.
Recreational, I may not choose this ballot initiative to pass, but recreational cannabis does not frighten me. I actually am a proponent for having a choice over using alcohol or other types of things to use cannabis, whether it's recreational or medicinal, it all has a medical purpose.
In addition to possibly legalizing recreational use, voters will decide if nonviolent marijuana offenses could get expunged.
I'm for it just because, I'm doing the same thing that they've got in trouble for. So, there's no sense in people still having a record as long as it's nonviolent, nothing crazy like a big cartel or something like that.
Others believe cannabis should only be used for medical reasons.
My stance on it, I'm not for the recreational use of cannabis because I don't personally believe that there is a recreational use for it. I believe it's all some form of medical.
Buck says the cannabis regulations in place now are enough.
I like seeing people put forth the efforts and seeing a professional and going through certain steps to be able to get their med card and try to understand what they need out of the use of cannabis.
Supporters view this as more than just legalizing recreational cannabis.
I think expungement absolutely needs to be part of the process and that we should not have people in cages for plants.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Recreational marijuana could also be on the ballot in Oklahoma this November. One group has already turned in signatures for a ballot question. Another is gathering signatures that would mean voters to decide on an amendment allowing recreational use. But be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. The website will include resources for all of the 4 state areas, such as polling places, deadlines, and dates. Once again, that's koamnewsnow.com/elections. The Cherokee County Clerk announces a mistake with the county election. County Clerk Rebecca Brassert discovered that the thumb drives containing the voting data for District 1 County Commissioner malfunctioned. Officials say the drives improperly switched votes cast for incumbent Myra Frazier and attributed them to the challenger Lance Nichols. Brassert says the drives worked properly during testing.
So what we've done is we've actually had a hand count come in, and so I actually had it done twice just to ensure the integrity of those numbers and that they were all correct.
Lockwood Elections is responsible for the programming of the thumb drives. Next Monday, Cherokee County will continue the certification of the results. Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis spoke today on last week's primary election. Davis spoke to Joplin's Kiwanis Club. It was the first public discussion about the system procedures, problems, and solutions pertaining to the August 2nd election. Turnout and future elections procedures will also be discussed.
One of the things we do is I come to the local Kiwanis clubs, the Rotary clubs, and I just educate people about the election process. And of course, the question and answer time that we have kind of answers questions that people have that might concern them about the election.
The Kiwanis Club is the oldest club in the state of Missouri, and they raise money to help children. And now Doug Kitty joins us with the first look at the weather.
Well, we got some showers and thunderstorms, at least on the Missouri side, most of the Missouri side and Arkansas side last night into the early morning hours. And then most of today has been okay. Temperatures kind of chilly compared to what we have been, but it actually feels really good outside. Most of us are dry. You can see a few isolated thunderstorms to our south, and we can't rule out a random isolated thunderstorm popping up, especially the southern half of the region as we go through the evening hours. Well, look at these temps. We're in the mid to upper 80s. We haven't seen this in quite some time, over a month. Still a little bit warmer once you get out across Kansas and Oklahoma. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 80s, 70s, even upper 60s later on tonight. So it's going to feel comfortable. We could get a few isolated little thunderstorms, mainly before midnight, and then I think these would die down as we go into the late overnight hours. It does start to heat back up. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture last week announced its new local food purchase assistance cooperative agreement program, which allows food banks to purchase and distribute locally grown food from underserved producers to the 4-state residents. A local food pantry director says this is not directly affecting him, but it will be beneficial. He says once the Kansas Food Bank gets items from the farmers, they would most likely share it with his food in the pantry as well. Some items he believes he would get are corn and watermelons.
Once the Kansas Food Bank gets a supply of the produce from the local farmers, they're going to share it with their fellow pantries.
David Gillen waits to see how the agreement affects on them when he places the new food order from the food bank. And coming up, CFI unveils a commemorative wrap on big rigs for their She Drives CFI program. Plus, Arvis Bank makes a donation towards a Carl Junction School program, which includes a man's best friend. Publishers Clearinghouse has stated there's a scam going around the area again. They say if someone calls you and claims they're from PCH and that you've won a prize and then ask for a payment to claim the prize, do not go any further. PCH says all of their prizes are free and will not require a payment. So if someone tries to get money from you, it is a scam. Archery has a long history of popularity, whether it's for hunting or target practice. Today, Missouri legislators recognize archery as the official state sport. Missouri has a significant connection to bow hunting and the archery industry. One of Missouri's most significant ties to archery, the compound bow, is a show-me state connection to the sport that has been well documented but is somewhat forgotten. Archery hunting is also a favorite pastime, with Missouri's first archery season taking place in 1946 in Crawford County. A local trucking business is celebrating its female drivers. Joplin-based CFI today unveiled a new wrap on one of its trucks featuring a custom design for the company's She Drives CFI program. Officials say the program recognizes the professional excellence of its female drivers, as well as encouraging more women to choose trucking as a career.
We want to be the employer of choice for women in trucking. One of the things that we want to be the choice really for women in trucking, and the trucks draw attention to that. They're able to point out that we honor and highlight and support women in the industry.
CFI rolled out its first commemorative truck back in 2018. They say a dog is a man's best friend. They're really anyone's best friend, including students. The Carl Junction School District has a therapy dog program where dogs interact with students to provide comfort and reduce frustration, anxiety, and stress. Today, Arvis Foundation donated $2,000 to the school's program.
To watch a student with a dog is magical. It calms their nerves, their demeanor changes. Sometimes they sit on the floor. I've seen students sit on the floor and hug the dog, and they don't even have to speak. Dog isn't, expected to do tricks. They just sit there and let a student love on them.
The donation will go towards the purchase of dogs. The Carl Junction Educational Foundation donated $1,500 towards the training of the dogs. And a little later, we'll preview Joplin High School's football team ahead of the season.
Plus, our temperatures are much better for us today, but they are going to start to warm back up. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, at least we got some showers and thunderstorms in here yesterday evening into the overnight hours, but most of these on the Missouri and the Arkansas side. If you live in Kansas and Oklahoma, you didn't get much, but at least some of us got some rain. Partly cloudy skies. You can see the cumulus clouds out there. This is our Lander Chevrolet tower cam on the southeast side of Joplin. If we look at the airport, over a half an inch of rain, which is good, especially in southwest Missouri, because a lot of areas in Kansas and Oklahoma have picked up some rain over the past couple of weeks, where Missouri hasn't really seen that much. 1.1 for the month, for the year, a little bit over 30 inches of rain. You can see those heavy pockets of rain, especially Cedar County for Stockton, 4 or 5 inches, and then a couple to 3 inches in the central and western parts of Newton County. And then on average, everybody else half an inch to an inch, and then it sharply cuts off once you get into southeastern Kansas and also northeastern Oklahoma. At least temperatures are better, about 10 to 12 degrees cooler than it was this time yesterday. A little bit warmer in our northern counties where the front worked through a little bit quicker for them yesterday, but temps are pretty good, mainly mid to upper 80s, and then you approach 90 into the lower 90s once you get out across southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. And what has caused those thunderstorms is a weak little front that has kind of been draped in our southern counties over the past 24 hours. So we have northerly winds to the north of that, and that front's going to kind of hang around throughout the evening hours. So that could fire off an additional isolated thunderstorm over about the next 6 or 7 hours. It looks fine. Right now it's 88, feels like 92. Humidity is at 51%. As we go through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the upper 60s later on tonight. May get a little bit of patchy fog, so that is something we'll have to keep our eyes on as we go through the overnight hours. Nothing going on now, but again, our southern half, really I-44 and south, we could pick up a few isolated thunderstorms as we go through the evening hours. You can see not much going on here. It's pretty dry across the region. The bulk of thunderstorms tonight will stay to our south. Let's go through time. A few random hit and miss trying to pop up by 9, 10, 11 o'clock for us tonight. Any that do pop up will sink out of here by morning. A little bit of patchy fog to start. We're going to warm into the upper 80s by noon. I think most of us during the afternoon, probably in that kind of 90 to 92 degree range. 68 to start, 86 by noon. High temp at 92 during the afternoon. Tomorrow night looks fine. Actually really comfortable. We'll drop back into the mid 60s, and then Thursday back into the low to mid 90s for highs. So we slowly start to creep back up as we go through the rest of the week and then heading toward the weekend. In fact, by Friday, we're going to be into the upper 90s, but at least we're getting a little bit of relief the next couple days. 92 tomorrow, 95 Thursday, 97 on Friday, near 100 as we go into the weekend, and 104 by Monday. Mainly dry, some thunderstorm chances by the middle of next week.
Other than those few rain spots here and there, deja vu.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Over and over and over again, just heat, 100 degrees.
Got it.
All right, thank you, Doug. Our More Power project is finally complete, and it's time to celebrate. The first stop on the More Power to You tour is this Thursday in Miami, Oklahoma. We'll broadcast our 5 and 6 o'clock newscast live from the Ottawa County Fair. Stop by to win a Roku and be in the drawing for Kansas City Chief tickets. And coming up in sports, we'll hear from the Joplin Eagles as they hit the field for their first week of fall camp. And we'll hear from Pitt State head coach Brian Wright on returning starting quarterback Chad Dotson. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Joplin Eagles are in the middle of their first week of football practice. And Joplin is coming off another big year, going 10-2 overall in 2021. Now this season, offensively, Eagles return All-State offensive lineman Dontrell Holt and a two-headed monster in the backfield with Drew Van Gilder and Quinn Renfro returning. Now they will have a new quarterback with junior Hobbs Gooch stepping in with the graduation of Always Right. As for the defense, plenty of new faces over there this fall after losing 9 of 11 starters from last season.
The good thing is the two guys we got back are, a first-team All-State kid with Draven Van Gilder and Johnny Williams, who is, right there with them. So, and they're at that linebacker level, and so they can help quarterback the defense. And the nice thing is, being Class 6 and having good numbers, hopefully we reload and not rebuild on that side of the ball.
Honestly, I really do think we have some guys that actually can fill those roles from last year. I know there was 4 seniors, there were 4 starters, 4 seniors that left. So, and it's big shoes to fill, but a lot of us that used to be juniors are trying to fill those holes, and a lot of sophomores are too.
We know that there'll still be some growing pains along the way, but hopefully we can mitigate those as much as possible.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are also on the field for their opening week of fall practice. The Gorillas are coming off an 8-3 season and will open up their schedule on September 1st. Now on offense, the Gorillas are rolling with sophomore Chad Dotson Jr. at quarterback. Dotson actually started the season finale last year against Fort Hays State, throwing for nearly 300 yards and 3 scores in that one. Now here's his head coach on what he's seen from the sophomore this offseason.
The biggest jump will be speed of play and how quick he's making his decisions and his comfort level in the pocket. When he first got in there last year, he was a little antsy back there in the pocket. Now he's a lot more comfortable, and I'd like to see him progress at that. And he continues to get the ball out quicker and quicker and make good decisions. So it'll just be his ability to help lead our offense to get down the field and score touchdowns.
The biggest growth I've seen in Chad is just his leadership from this offseason. Just him getting those 2 games last year when he did, I think it helped his confidence a lot and what to expect for this year. I think Chad Dawson's going to be a really dangerous quarterback. He's a smart guy, and I see him working hard every day.
The Missouri Southern Lions are also less than a month from their season opener. They'll open the year on September 1st at home against Nebraska Kearney. For Missouri Southern, they like the group they have back, so from now until week 1, it's about building a little depth with some younger players to prepare for a tough MIAA schedule.
Biggest thing for me is we got so many newcomers. We got to find a way to get those guys in the mix, in the fold, and up to speed as quickly as possible. Our ones are as good as anyone in the conference, but this is a league that you got to have ones and twos if you expect to make 11 games and hopefully get a 12th and maybe a 13th.
I know you've been a part of that team before, but it's kind of exciting to hear how Tiva Bradley is talking about this year's team. It's kind of been reserved since he got the job about understanding where they are.
For sure.
Getting a little swag.
For sure. I mean, they've got a decent amount of people returning on both sides of the ball, really building that confidence. The MIAA, man, it's a great conference, and hopefully our 2 local universities can be at the top of it.
It makes my job more fun when they are.
I mean, you know how I'm rocking. Go Lions, man. We'll be right back after this. Thank you. We take time now to honor a local veteran. Chris Bierskin served in the U.S. Air Force from 1981 to 1985. The Independence, Kansas native was stationed in Germany with the C-130 Military Airlift Command. We're proud to salute Senior Airman Chris Bierskins, our 4-state hero. And here's a look at what's coming up on the KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Pittsburgh City Commissioners discuss a $100,000 grant aimed at helping the city's homeless population. Plus, reaction to the FBI's raid on former President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. And the growing problem of people returning pet pigs after adopting them during the pandemic. Those stories and a lot more tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Bookworms and book lovers, today is just a day for you. Every August 9th is National Book Lovers Day. You can mark the day by starting a book club, visiting a library or a used bookstore, reading to a child, or start writing a book that you've always wanted to write. Or maybe even start writing that novel that you have in your head. Also be sure to check out your local library for connections like read-alongs, book swaps, and author talks. You guys readers at all?
Nope.
I like to read. I just have a hard time finding time to read.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a book that I love off the top of my head other than like Green Eggs and Ham or something.
I don't know any because I don't read.
Well, all right, Doug, what do you have first?
Weather-wise, we could still get a few isolated thunderstorms this evening, but most of you are going to stay dry. 92 tomorrow, 95 Thursday, and then heating up by the weekend.
Glenn?
I'm excited for this. Our Pigskin preview, we're going to release that thing tomorrow after the 6 p.m. news, so be ready for that.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you for watching. We'll see you right back here at 10 o'clock.
Salon service is